An in-depth look at monovalve failures. So, since you can't currently purchase a monovalve repair kit from Mercedes right now, or from Bosch, or even from MTC, but I think you could get one from Euro Parts. It's very important that we actually evaluate our monovalves. And even though the monovalve seems like a small part, there are a number of things that can go wrong that may or may not influence whether we actually replace it or not. So, in my hand I have the two basic parts of the monovalve, the activating coil and the monovalve insert itself. The way this works is that 12 volts is applied to this coil, creating an electromagnetic field that energizes this valve, pushing it downward to make a positive seal inside the monovalve. When no power is applied, the plunger goes into a relaxed position, allowing it to go all the way back and to sit in a position allowing water to flow through the heater valve. So this can be found at the top of the heater valve, held in with 4 flathead screws. So what are some things that actually go wrong with this assembly? Well, electrical failure, or total electrical failure, what I call a TEF, a total electrical failure of the part, TEF, is extremely rare. The number one thing that goes wrong is that the boot tears. Now, would I take my original monovalve and replace it with an aftermarket Euro Parts or MTC one? The answer is not without testing it. So first of all, you can buy one of the aftermarket ones just for the little boot at the bottom, which is held in place by a circlip and then simply is held on around the edge. Now there's also a guy on eBay from Russia who's making these, and he seems to be doing a nice job. And you know what? I'll buy a Russian part if I don't have to buy a Chinese part. So bravo to you, monovalve diaphragm craftsmen from Russia.
Hi, this is Stacy, and I'm giving you a call from the auto service.
Okay. Sorry, Stacy. We don't need you here. Anyway, one of the problems that these things run into is that the coil around them dies. Now, Brinson Company has new coils, and the part number, the Bosch part number for these was 1147412012. So that's 1147412012, and Mercedes number 0008303784. Somehow Brinson got in touch with Bosch and got them to make more of them for them. This is good news because I think that Mercedes didn't quite want to do this. But if these short out, you will get some funny symptoms. So if you have a second generation climate control in a 124, 120, or 126 car, occasionally the system will flash to heat and your recirculation light will come on if these coils are so shorted out that they are causing too much heat buildup, and they will burn up the circuit board of the monovalve. On a 123, you'll get phantom switching to heat. Same thing with a 107, virtually undetectable. So you need to be aware if you're just getting a sudden switch to heat, because it will burn up your push button control unit where the monovalve ground circuit is, because what happens is the monovalve always gets voltage, but it doesn't always get ground, and that's what the push button control unit does. Now, in order to test this thing and see if it's actually working, see if it's weak or not, you can plug in the monovalve but unbolt this thing and hold it in your hand with the ignition on and go through your climate control settings. So when you turn on max AC or you put the temp wheel on the blue, this plunger should extend. It doesn't need to be grounded. You should be able to see it, and if you try to push it back with your finger, it just won't go. It may go with a little more force, but under it should not do that, just return on its own. Nope, it needs to be held out there, and it should extend all the way. It shouldn't be weak or fluttery. Now, sometimes if your cabin temperature sensor blows up, you'll only get a working monovalve and max cool, and under any other setting you will have max heat. You need to verify that as well, and you could hook this up to a 12 volt power supply and see what you get. It's got to be low amperage, about 8 amps. So you don't want a ton of amps, but you want to see what happens. Now, 9 times out of 10, your problem may actually be the wrapper uncoiled. My point is that this little insert doesn't fail as often as one might think it does. Anyway, all right, that was a mouthful. My point is, don't discard your monovalve, and oftentimes the problems are diaphragms, and about the other half of the time they're actually the electromagnetic winding. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, and subscribe. And if you found this to be useful and would like to know more about your little monovalve and its application in your car and how to test it even better, then drop us a line or leave a comment below. But one more thing I was going to add, since you guys hung on to the very end here, is that it's a good idea to do a voltage test. Again, your positive should always have 12 volts, but your ground will only work when you are in cooling position, and it will cycle the warmer you get. You'll get voltage sometimes, continuity sometimes, and then sometimes it'll just be shut off. So the monovalves do cycle to modulate indoor temperature. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Enjoy driving your Mercedes Benz, and we'll talk in the future.